math. It's basic math. I know we hate math. I know we hate it, but I passed it,
okay.
unlike y'all.
So let me ask you a question. How does racism contribute to black-on-black crime in Chicago? No, we actually live in such a amazingly decent country that, whoa.
In this video, we are going to watch Charlie Kirk dismantle a completely unhinged race baiter in a very Charlie Kirk fashion. And this is a fiery one and almost gets physical at one stage. So with that, let's get into the clips.
I've been watching this for some 20 odd years, you know, just... Oh, ma'am, you've been doing it forever. Welcome to the First Amendment. I fought for it.
Sir, can you just stay focused on me?
Taxpayer-paid jacket.
Sir.
Thank you. I brought it overseas.
All right, sir, just ask me the question.
So what is it about conservatives and this whole racism thing? Like, you guys are always just saying that it's either not a thing or it's, you know, just not in any of the institutions or the police department. But it seems that over the past 18 years, we've had several race riots. And the biggest one being in 2020. So it's like, how are we still denying segregation in a city where we can clearly see what fucking neighborhoods are white, which ones are black, which ones are Latino, and we know how we got there. So it's like, what is it with conservatives and admitting that there's a problem and not addressing it? Because it seems like you guys want to be obsessed with, oh, the gender thing or the racism thing, and then you guys say, oh, it's not here, it's not a big problem. But why are millions of people rioting every couple years?
So let me ask you a question.
We can say that it's Democrats and shit, right?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
So what do you think is a bigger problem facing America, single fatherhood or racism?
Racism, by far. That's how
Can you say that in the microphone?
Racism, by far, because racism gets people killed, not single fatherhood.
Well, no, a single motherhood. Let me be more specific. So single moms or fathers leaving the home, you think is a bigger problem than racism?
No, sir. I'm gonna repeat that one again for you. I think racism is a bigger problem than fathers being outside of the home. However, I do see fathers not being in the home is a problem.
Let's make sure we're defining our terms. How would you define racism then?
Racism is a system of oppression used by a certain group using prejudice, institutional power, and it's situated by the media, government, and all these other institutions.
Give me an example of one thing you as a black man cannot do that I as a white man can do in America.
Got you. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, right, I went to a DeSantis rally. Got my ticket, all that good bullshit. Been to a million different, you know, rallies of a kind, whether, you know, I was a conservative at the time or whether I was a liberal, right? I know that as a black person, I am far more likely to be arrested for expressing my view, whether I am a conservative or a liberal. And I've done it on both sides. And, oh, yes, I was arrested.
You were probably being a jerk. That's why you were arrested.
And that's the best part. And that's the best part, right? That's the best part. I wasn't even being a jerk. And the courts even found our beloved courts.
Let me make sure.
So let's do a quick recap here. Firstly, this individual thinks that racism is a bigger problem than single mother homes, which is laughable in itself. And then, when asked to give an example of how he as a black man can't do the same things that Charlie, a white man, can do, he says that he got arrested at a DeSantis rally. Now, excuse me for being presumptuous, but judging by the pure narcissistic arrogance of this individual and his behavior at this event, which only gets worse, by the way, I can't help but to think to myself that his skin color wasn't exactly the deciding factor if that incident did actually occur. And I would go one step further and to say that blacks are actually welcomed with open arms into conservative circles, and for a multitude of reasons, not the least of which being that African Americans tend to vote religiously Democrat, and if this were to change, then it would really help to swing elections. And tell me this, are there any examples of Candace Owens' Blexit movement being met with any sort of racial hostility by Republicans? I don't think so. On to the next clips.
I understand this. So you think the bigger problem than fathers not being in the home is a abstract conspiracy theory that you have that hecklers and jerks at political events are arrested because of the color of their skin? That's the best definition of institutional racism?
No, that's not my definition on racism. I did
tell you what my definition. Give me an example of something a white man like me can do that a black man like you can't do. Because guess what? If I showed up at a DeSantis event and started heckling, I'd be kicked out and arrested.
No, you would not. No, in fact, I even have evidence.
You know how I know that's true?
You want to know? Do you want to know how I know it's true?
White suburban kids from Highland Park, and they're arrested a lot more. actually when you see the mugshots. Yeah.
Oh, so white kids are arrested a lot more. Could
Well,
that possibly be? Could that possibly be?
Can you talk
And
into the
I'm
mic?
just, and I'm just guessing here. Could it possibly be that white people are arrested more because you have a higher population and therefore by proximity you are more like, because it's math.
Before we continue this video, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up, it would help me enormously with my algorithms, pushing this video out far and wide and helping to spread the message of Rattlesnake TV. And if you guys haven't subscribed, welcome to the family.
Math. It's basic math. I know we hate math. I know we hate it, but I passed
Well,
it,
okay.
unlike y'all.
So let me ask you a question. How does racism contribute to black-on-black crime in Chicago? How is white people to blame for that?
Oh, actually, matter of fact, that's actually a whole other issue. So let's talk about, so you want to talk about intracommunal violence as it pertains to
So what
racism.
does the white man have to do with that?
So, oh, and that's a great thing. I love the red herring that you threw in there.
No, it's-
yes,
it's-
because,
it's a question.
hey, intracommunal violence is proximal, right? So when we have segregation and we got races sitting in one area and you got another race in another area. Now, we never ask white people, why is white on white crime so high with white people, and never, but instead we focus on black people.
Yeah, so out of the 530 murders in Chicago of the last year, how many were black-on-black crime?
Hey, I wasn't looking. But you know what I
Yeah,
do know?
well
But
over
you know, hey,
420 of them were black-on-black
Sure,
gang-related
sure,
crimes.
sure.
How is that
Sure.
racism to blame for that?
let's talk. So now are we going to talk about over-policing?
Yeah, so he can't answer basic questions from Charlie because, quite frankly, there is no good answer. The only thing that he knows how to do is stand there, cause a scene, and pretend to be a victim. You see, guys, I've been spending some time in the States over the last few weeks, and at the time of this recording, I'm currently in Miami. And I love this country, but I believe there is something strange happening here. I believe that the incredible and unique values that have made this country a shining beacon of freedom in the world and the most desirable place to live have also become its Achilles heel. The values of individual freedom, classical liberalism, whereby people can live life on their own terms, be who they want to be, and say what they want to say with the broader society being largely tolerant, seems to have reached a point where this goodness has almost become a weakness. And now, it seems to me anyway, that just like a person who is too kind and too nice, the country is being walked all over and taken advantage of. And there are definitely bad faith individuals out there who seem to want to take this race narrative and use it to turn people against each other for nefarious political reasons. And now we are at the point where we have individuals like the person in this video who walk around genuinely thinking they are some sort of eternal victim and that they can't get anywhere in life due to the color of their skin, which anybody with a functioning brain knows that that is abjectly false. In fact, that is the opposite of true these days.
I'm sorry, sir. You're kind of
Would you like to-
demonstrating you can't answer the question.
Would you like to talk about? I mean, we can talk about it. We can.
Okay.
Are you ready to address it, though?
Well-
are you ready to address it? Are you
Yeah.
ready? Because we can talk about black-on-black crime, but we need to talk about it as it pertains. We need to. Okay, let's talk about it, sis. I'm ready to talk about it.
All right, hold on. So
I'm ready to
let
talk
me
about it.
let me just
I'm
narrow
ready to
this
talk
down.
about it.
So let me just say this,
All right,
okay?
all right.
So
What's up?
if you were to rank the 100 biggest problems in America,
Yeah.
the fact that I know we're not a racist country is the best example you have. Is
Okay,
some
so you
abstract
know we're not a
story of you
racist
getting
country
kicked
based
out of
on
a
what?
DeSantis rally. If we were a racist country, you'd say, Charlie, I can't go in a convenience store. Charlie, I can't go into school. No, we actually live in such a amazingly
we're not-
decent
if we're not
country
racist-
that whoa.
Don't.
Let's not do that, okay?
All I did.
All right.
All I did was speak.
You're trying to pull it
Oh,
out of my
no.
Mostly peaceful, everybody. Mostly
I
peaceful,
wasn't.
okay?
I didn't lay hands on you.
All
I
right.
got witnesses. I did not touch you. No.
All right.
I touched the mic.
We're going to wrap this one
Don't
up,
play.
but let me just
Anyway.
say this.
We got racism we got racism all over the U.S. We just had a race riot 3 years
Okay,
ago.
so let's
in
talk about-
2020.
wait, hold on.
And,
So-
oh my God! And then we had all 50 states plus 18 countries. But don't worry, Alice,
Wait, so by
I'm
race
not laying no
riots,
hands
you
on
mean
them.
you mean
I used to
mass
wear the
looting
uniform
of
too.
big
I know
screen
how it works.
TVs? Let me tell you, it is not an argument in your favor that we're a racist country because blacks decide to start burning down Wendy's and stealing stuff. That's called
Actually,
criminality.
it is because
and the
you're not
majority
even
of black
looking
Americans
as to why it
found the
happened.
looting
You're not
to
even
be
looking as to why it happened,
objectionable.
and that's cool. And that's cool. You know, we can definitely play, obtuse on the whole issue. Yeah, black people were burning it down. Why? Racism. Racism was a big issue, and we can pretend that it's not a big issue. But hey,
Yeah.
hey, If you don't want to, then that's just called being obtuse. And that's why I asked you, why did you have such a big problem with talking about racism? You want to claim that it's not there, and you can say all you want, but that still doesn't prove, that still does not.
If you want to talk about racism that could be proven,
so
let me give you some examples of racism that could be proven. How about affirmative action at this college that discriminates against Asian students and white students? How about affirmative action hiring practices in the federal government? We are such a decent, non-racist country. The best example that he has is to show that he was mistreated. And if he acted like this at the DeSantis event, I can see why he was kicked out of the DeSantis event.
They always turn their backs and walk away when they're losing the debate and have nothing to say. And it's a real shame, this. And I look at a guy like this and I think to myself, it's sad. Like, it's going to be a very long and difficult life for you. And you can see the hatefulness and the resentment just radiating from within him. And it's a terrible way to view the other and the society around you. And not to mention, it's especially terrible when the reason why you have this resentful attitude is so poorly founded. America, from my experience, and I've traveled a lot, is the most remarkably non-racist country I have ever been to. There are enormous, bustling cultures of blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, and more, all coexisting together. Do you know how rare that is in the context of the world and history? It is actually, like I said before, tolerant to the point where it's almost to their detriment. So food for thought there, guys. And if you want to catch me on my other channels and on my social medias, hit those links, top of the bio, top of the comments. And if you guys want to watch another video, click right here. Until next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.